Another blow to the region's economy today as the energy giant E.ON announced that 600 jobs are to go at a call centre in Essex.
E.ON call it a streamlining customer service review. Unions say it's a bitter blow. Gareth George is in Rayleigh now. Gareth.
Well, first thing this morning, the 600 E.ON staff who work in this call centre were called into a meeting and they were told that their jobs are going. There were tears and a great deal of anger because in these tough economic times, 600 more people will soon be looking for work.
These staff members had just found out they'd lost their jobs. One of them summed up their feelings.
Speechless, really, gobsmacked, hurt, angry.
E.ON used some choice business jargon to describe what was happening.
What we've announced is, as part of a streamlining customer service improvement review of our business, we've decided that we can do the job in a better way with fewer call centres. So we have made the tricky decision, the difficult decision, to close this call centre. And 600 staff, unfortunately, have been told today that this site will close by the summer of this year.
Rarely can the Prime Minister have heard about job losses so quickly. With workers back in Rayleigh still trying to absorb the blow, a local MP raised it at Prime Minister's questions.
Can the Prime Minister personally assure me that the Business Department, the Job Centre Plus network, will do absolutely everything they can to assist my constituents and their families and to help them find alternative employment if that closure goes through?
We will be able to put to the assistance of his constituents not only advice but help and careers assistance, and in some cases work experience for others who are young people looking for jobs in the future. We will do everything we can.
Many of the call centre staff are in their 20s. Some have been forced to rethink career plans.
I was looking to go to university at the end of the year, but in order to do that I was hoping to save money. I have saved some money, but by losing my job, obviously that may not be an option now.
There were tears from a lot of people, yeah. Obviously a lot of people have worked there for quite a long time, so it's their livelihood, it's their jobs.
It's the second jobs blow in the area. HSBC laid off 750 workers in Southend just 2 months ago. Karen Goodliff told reporters she'd worked at E.ON for 10 years. She said E.ON's head of customer services made this morning's announcement.
He said that the site was closing, probably from June, couldn't tell us anymore, and it was very hostile. People were asking questions, shouting at him, and he seemed surprised that we took it as badly as we did.
Staff here now have until the summer to find new jobs. Many aren't too hopeful.
The union Unison represents many of the workers here, and it said what's happened has come as a shock to its members because they'd been told they were performing well. There's also a concern tonight about what effect the loss of so many jobs here will have on the wider local economy.
Gareth, thank you very much. Well, despite those job losses, figures out today show that unemployment in the region is falling. The new total is 186,000. That's a fall of 13,000 on the previous quarter. 6.3% of the workforce is unemployed, compared with a national figure of 7.8%. One town which has taken a few knocks recently is Lowestoft, but as our business correspondent Richard Bond reports, there are some new jobs on offer.
The statue of a lifeboatman in Lowestoft wears a concerned expression. These days that seems appropriate. He looks out on a troubled employer. The offshore engineering firm SLP collapsed into administration last year. Work continues on 2 projects, but if a buyer can't be found, up to 700 workers will lose their jobs.
It is a worrying time. However, it is inconceivable that the business could fold. It is vitally important for Lowestoft and our members here at SLP that we continue to build platforms of quality and ensure that hundreds of jobs in Lowestoft remain here.
The crisis at SLP has been one of several blows to Lowestoft's economy. The Sanyo TV factory shut last year. The closure of the Geldwen joinery plant was announced. And a multi-million-pound campus project to house hundreds of council and scientific staff was scrapped because of the recession. But a short distance from SLP, signs of hope. A new heliport under construction. The old fish dock is being turned into the operations base for the Greater Gabbard wind farm off the coast. Richard Clark has given up being a local fisherman to skipper workboats, taking personnel offshore.
I'm pleased I've made the change because the fishing industry is going downhill very quick, and I'm very glad to be working in the offshore wind industry, which is seems to be a boom industry at the moment, and it's very good for Lowestoft.
By the end of the year, we will employ 70 to 80 people at Lowestoft Marine Base. They will range from offshore wind technicians to control room staff, helicopter pilots and the crew for the workboats.
With more wind farms planned, hundreds of new jobs could be created locally, but it all takes time. And meanwhile, hundreds of existing jobs remain under threat. Richard Bond, BBC Look East, Lowestoft.
Of course, this is an election year and the government knows its handling of the recession will have a big impact on how people vote. Today, Labour tried to draw attention to the fact that unemployment is lower this time round than it was in the last recession. Here's Andrew Sinclair.
Susie, according to a recent Mori poll, the economy and unemployment will be the main issues that will influence how people vote at the next election. 49% of people are worried about the economy, 27% unemployment. At the last election, the two subjects were well down the list of people's priorities. How times change, which is why Labour is keen to show that it's doing all it can to help us through the recession. Today it released figures showing that during the last recession, which just happened to be under the Tories, 230,000 people were claiming benefits in this region, compared to 210,000 now. Compared to 120,000 now, Now that's people claiming benefits. Add the number of people out of work and not claiming benefits, and there are still fewer people unemployed this time round, but it's not as dramatic. Nevertheless, Labour believes that its controversial policy of creating jobs has lessened the effects of this recession. It's not just Rayleigh where there's been bad jobs news. This bakery in Norfolk closed today. The delivery vans parked up for good. 9 people are now out of work. And this week, East Cambridgeshire Council warned that it's going to have to shed jobs. 21 months since the recession began, the spectre of unemployment still haunts.
We should be under no illusion that things are really still very difficult. There's always the risk of a double dip recession, as they describe it, and it's very fragile, and it will take a lot of work.
They're widening the M1 in Bedfordshire at the moment, the project brought forward to provide jobs. In the last year, around £200 million of public money has been spent on construction projects in this region. The government says if it wasn't for these, unemployment would be far higher. Ministers are also frustrated that there are thousands of job vacancies in the region, but not enough people with the right qualifications.
We've got jobs, but we haven't got the people to fill them. And that's why we've brought in apprenticeships, internships, with this whole programme of backing young people and making sure that people get the training they need.
Well, of course, all that costs even more money, which is one reason why the spending deficit is £178 billion. Labour and the Liberal Democrats say it's money well spent if it helps people get jobs. The Conservatives say it's irresponsible borrowing. And that is the main crux of this debate, which will go on right up until the election. Susie.
Andrew, thank you very much.
The singer